So we're finally in peak week now. It is Tuesday, let me just double check. Tuesday the 26th of August, so we're 4 days out from our first show of the season. We're going to be doing the Showtime Wear Classic, Regional, and we're going to be in men's physique. So we've got that in 4 days time. So taking you through peak week now and a bit of a breakdown as to how I train in peak week. This week, the coach, the boss man, has mapped out the week ahead. This week I'm checking in every single day with my coach. So we're monitoring as we go and we're doing things based upon the data we're getting from the physique. So the goal here this week is to, I'm ready. That's the thing, I've been ready for a while and we've been able to kind of monitor that and manage it. And the whole goal is when you're ready early, you have the luxury of just cruising into the show and pulling certain variables to dry out. So that's what we're doing this week. And granted, it's still hard. The work is done, so to speak, but again, you don't want to rely too heavily on the fact that the work is done because your mind can get weak and that's when people fold. And I was just saying to Tom then, you still got a job to do in peak week. You still got to show up, you still got to train hard. Yes, we're going into the gym and we're not going to be growing tissue or building muscle right now, but we are still training with intensity, but we're just keeping 2 to 3 RIR, which means reps in reserve. So when you usually go into the gym to stimulate muscle growth and to actually cause growth in the muscle to occur, you're obviously going in and you're training to failure and you're pushing that muscle to biomechanical failure. When you're in a peak week setting, you want to be training hard, you want to keep that intensity high, but you've got to keep those reps in reserve because the reason for that is because we are priming ourselves this week to go on stage looking our best. And if you're going to failure, you're going to cause a fair bit of inflammation in that muscle and you're going to cause a fair bit of damage to where that muscle might not look as fresh and as full on the day. So the whole goal is to stimulate, not to annihilate, to push some blood around. And again, when you start to carb up or whatever day of the week that is, some people do a front load, some people do a back load. You want to just get in and push a bit of that food around as well. For me, I'm still in kind of depletion mode, so I'm not cutting carbs like completely. We're still on not a hell of a lot of carbs, but we're still on quite a few carbs for me. But we're at our baseline diet, and that baseline diet is just gradually getting us leaner and leaner day by day. As we start to remove cardio and freshen up the legs, as we start to remove certain variables and dry out, that looks just getting sharper every day as I wake up. Granted, we're a little bit flat today, but that's where we want to be, so that when we go into load on Thursday and Friday, the body's going to soak up those carbohydrates and we're going to fill out and dry out at the same time as we start to pull back on that water. So I will show you a little bit of that process towards the back end of the week, but right now it's only Tuesday and we're in for back. We did chest yesterday, we got back today, shoulders tomorrow and arms on Thursday. A little bit of a different setup to our usual training routine because we've not got legs in there, and I usually do push-pull legs, but it's just easy for us to just go right, chest, back, shoulders, arms, 2 reps of reserve, 2 to 3, and just get some good workouts in, ready for that load come Thursday. So like I say, we're still training hard, still training relatively heavy, but we're not going to take that muscle to absolute failure, and we're not looking at coming in and doing 5 plates aside on a rack pull and risking an injury. It's just not wise right now and it's just not productive to the goal, which is land the physique at its all-time best on Saturday. So when you are in peak week, guys, just remember those cues and those things I've explained, but don't kind of fold in peak week. Keep your mind strong. Remember, there is still a job to do. Yes, the majority of the work is done. You've smashed the whole prep, but still keep your head in the game and stay focused on the mission at hand. We're keeping things consistent in terms of exercise selection because it's what we've been doing. The body is used to that and we're not going to throw any spanners in the works to where we get a lot of DOMs going into Saturday. So we'll jump into this. Let's on the curl. Another thing you want to be mindful of, guys, as well is when you're training in peak week, it's very difficult for me because I'm used to slow negatives and really slowing down that eccentric portion of the movement. That can cause a lot of damage in the muscle, a lot of inflammation. Again, that's what you want when you're trying to grow and you're in just your prep setting or you're in a growth phase. But in peak week, you want to speed up that eccentric a little bit, but still stay on that contraction. So it's a little bit faster in that eccentric, drive down, hold that squeeze. When you're used to slow eccentrics though, it's quite foreign to kind of flip your mindset to going a lot quicker on the eccentric, but it's crucial to not cause too much damage in that muscle ready for Saturday. everything's sore right now. When you're in peak week, you're so lean that like, even your ass cheeks are sore. You guys who are in prep will be able to relate, who do the spin bike. When you get 3 weeks out and you're truly conditioned, you can feel everything, even when you sit down. If you're not feeling that, you're not in shape. So, remember that. This gym is definitely going to remind me of this season because I've done a lot of training in this gym this year. And it's been a really good environment. I always say as well, like, this year for me, environment's been key for my prep, and being here, being around Tom, being around other guys who train, who are like-minded, who are driven, who are doing the same thing, it's just motivating me and elevating me to a new level. In the past, I still live in a box when I'm on prep and I do things the way I need to do it, but I would shut myself off a little bit, and this year I've been getting around people with the same mindset, on the same mission, and it's been so much more enjoyable. So I can't stress enough, guys, if you are a competitor, if you do love this is your passion, get around other people who are doing it. Get around people who understand you. Get around people who want to pursue the same things as you, because it'll only elevate you and it'll take you to where you want to be. If you kind of lock yourself away and don't do that, you'll be very lonely and you'll make it a lonely process. This process can be enjoyable and it can be fun if you're around the right people. So that is a big piece of advice that I can give you for any up and coming bodybuilders, men's physique guys. Get around people who are on the same mission as you. You know you're lean when you can't get a pump. Definitely getting lean now. It's a good sign because when we load, we'll be ready. Yeah, it was super flat today. Come on, bro, let's go. Let's go. This is probably the first time this prep where I've felt truly flat. This is the only prep really where I've not been, I've not really run that flat because we've been carving up at the right times and we've been running flat for only a certain period of time. And it's been one of them preps for me where you always see guys talk about, no prep's like fully smooth, it's always going to be hard, but you hear guys talk about how the prep was smooth and it went really well. This is one of those preps for me where everything just seems to have aligned and I've been ticking the boxes and we've not really run into any issues and I've not even really been flat. So this is the first time that I feel like I can't get a proper pump, to be honest with you. Which means we're ready to load, it means we're ready for stage, and it means we're truly in condition. So that's a good thing. But every other prep that I've done, I've felt like this quite a lot throughout the prep. So, I've lost quite a lot of muscle just pushing way too hard, running food too low. You live and you learn, but can't stress enough, guys, it's always better to get the chunk of the fat loss done and get that cardio high out the gate. That's how we did it this year and it paid off a lot. Instead of kind of tapering that cardio up from, say, 15, 20 minutes and slowly tapering up, we did a recomp phase and we hit that cardio quite hard out the gate to get in shape. And that enabled us to keep cardio pretty consistent and steady throughout the entire process of the prep. Been doing this on prep every week. I always typically I like both versions, but I've been doing quite a wide grip, keeping my elbows up. Just trying to get that thickness across the upper back. Using that upper back musculature, driving back with the elbows and just contracting and squeezing. So keeping this movement in third. Probably won't go as heavy as I was at the start of prep. I was doing like 4 plates. But again, I feel like this is a movement that you can get a bit carried away with and not use all your back on. Especially if you're using the wider grip and doing the high elbows. So just make sure that you're pulling through your elbows, you're squeezing your back, and you're using the majority of your back to shift that load. So I'm gonna have a nice rest and we'll go again. And in peak week, guys, I like to visualize, everything that I've done up until this point and remember all the work I've put in. And always visualize what you're gonna do come show day, how you're gonna pump up, what you're gonna feel like when you go on stage. You got a vision, what you're gonna do before you do it. So that's what this week's about. workout now, guys. So finishing up on some behind the neck lat pull downs. I really rate these, been using them a lot this prep, and just really squeezing that upper back as well, using a back double bicep. A little bit different to in front of the, in front of the body. I feel like it targets the back in a bit of a different way. If you're not doing these and you're trying to bring up that detail in your upper back, definitely throw them in. Try not to lean over too much, try and keep your head up and pull through. Chest up, drive them elbows down and really contract hard. Such a great movement to add into your back workouts. With back, there's so many movements, but a lot of people end up doing the same plane of motion over and over again. So you've got to really look at where you're lagging in your back, specifically if you're back to body part that you want to bring up. There's so many muscles and so many intricate details to your back, to the muscularity of your back, that you've got to be targeting it from different angles and making sure that you are prioritizing areas that you need to develop. So whether that's hitting it twice a week and splitting up those movements, which is typically what you would want to do because it's a lot of work in one session, and just fine-tuning the areas that you need to bring up. That's my biggest piece of advice for back training. And again, not going too heavy. Yes, you need heavy weight on back. Yes, you need to really, grip and rip sometimes to get that density on there. But if you've not mastered the simple foundations of actual feeling and connecting with your back by driving through your elbow, by the right cues on the right movements, then you're not really going to grow back just going heavy, because you're not going to use anything but your biceps. So, be mindful of that. Make sure you're using your back when you're pulling. Right, abs, and we're done. So a pro tip, guys, obviously if you're a pale individual, I would go on the sunbeds and I would get darker skin for your show, because you don't want to be pasty white, getting your tan. It's not a good look. You want to have at least a base tan. I tan really easily, so if I go on the sunbeds quite a lot, I look like I've had a spray tan. So I've backed off a little bit now for 2 weeks, just to make sure that when me and Alex did a show a few years ago, I was black when I went to the spray tan, and I literally turned a completely different race. So it actually hindered me more than it helped me, and it hid the details and it hid the cuts and it hid the striations. So this time I've stopped the sunbeds 2 weeks out. I haven't gone crazy with them. I've been looking after my skin and prepping my skin so that when I do get that tan and I get 2 coats, it's going to be a beautiful colour, and it's going to be a bit more golden, so that the shreds and the details and the lines and separation show a lot better on that stage, instead of being too dark to where it hides it. So that's something else you got to think about in peak week, is prepping your skin, making sure that you're not using deodorants and soaps and stuff like that that's going to cause your tan to get a bit streaky and a bit green. Just make sure that you're priming your skin ready for that spray tan. And again, if you are someone who uses Milano tan or sunbeds, try and back off that for about 2 or 3 weeks out, because it is going to hinder you, it's not going to help you. Right guys, so we are 4 days out from our first show of the season, and that is our back workout done. We call it a depletion workout, keeping, like I say, 2 to 3 reps in reserve. I feel pretty fucked, I'm super flat. This is literally the flattest I've been probably all prep, but that is a good thing because it means we're primed and we're ready to load. So we're going to be able to load come Thursday, Friday, and really fill that glycogen back out and really give that freshness and that pop to the muscle, so it's bursting against the skin and we look leaner. So, we're in a very good spot right now. I'm not really worried that I am this flat. This is still like relatively okay, considering how flat I used to be in the past. So we're in a very good place. We're going to do a little bit of posing before we go, and I'll take you through the rest of peak week from there, and then we got show day. So very exciting, very exciting.
Yeah.